So many politicians in the West have refused for too long to talk about how mass immigration is changing their countries. And because of their cowardice to look at some of the negative side of that, the blowback now is coming, and at times it's extreme. Today, US President Donald Trump announced he was banning travellers from 12 countries and restricting travellers from 7 more.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them. We will not let what happened in Europe happen to America.
We will not let what happened in Europe happen to America. Well, I'll get to that bit of it, but let's first go through Trump's statement. As it happens, that ghastly terrorist attack in Boulder on elderly Jews, well, the man accused of setting those people alight is an illegal immigrant from Egypt, which isn't one of the countries Trump is now banning. Those countries he has fully banned are Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. As you can tell, if you follow that list, just over half of them are Muslim, mainly in Africa and the Middle East, although, of course, a couple of in Asia. And only Iran of those is listed as a state sponsor of terrorism. But Trump says countries were put on this list because the central authorities there can't be trusted in issuing passports, or don't give access to criminal records so you can check who's coming, or they have ongoing armed conflicts and so on. In other words, they're not safe. But to me, what's most interesting is Trump then using Europe as a warning against letting in almost anyone without proper scrutiny. And he has a point, even if you don't like his response, or maybe you think his picture of Europe is a bit extreme. Because in France, for instance, we saw those terrible riots over the weekend, again with many rioters of minority backgrounds, to judge from the pictures. And what's more, a couple of weeks ago, France's Interior Ministry warned the French president in a leaked report that Islamism was a threat to French unity. And it said, among other things, the Muslim Brotherhood, they're radical Islamists backed by Qatar, banned in many other countries, including the Middle East, now had a French network that included 139 officially affiliated mosques and 68 more mosques considered ideologically close. It also controlled or influenced 21 private schools and more than 800 Quranic schools that are teaching tens and tens and tens of thousands of children to reject Western secularism. That was the warning in this report. And in fact, so many European countries are now wrestling with that or aspects of the Muslim integration issues that are bedeviling so many. You take Britain. Now this week, Buckingham University, one of the academics at Buckingham University said mass immigration meant that white British people will become a minority in Britain within the next 40 years. And by the end of the century, white Britons are going to make up just 1/3 of the population. Now, many on the left will say, so what? Only racists would object. I mean, seriously. But you wonder why Anglo and Celtic Britons should be among the very few peoples on earth that no longer have one country somewhere on the globe where they are the majority that they can call their homeland. And here we're talking about people living in a country that is making them increasingly feel like this.
I feel like a foreigner in my own country. That's what I feel like. And do you think that's fair?
Tell me why. Why do you feel that way?
Well, because we're surrounded by foreigners. That's why.
Now, I know that man had a working class kind of accent, uneducated man, but he's not alone. Years ago, TV celebrity chef Clarissa Dixon Wright, who's one of the famous Two Fat Ladies, said she'd been in parts of Leicester, very Muslim parts, a bit lost, trying to ask for directions. She got frightened by the lack of people willing to help and said, here I was in the heart of a city in the middle of my own country a complete outcast and pariah. It was a Muslim ghetto, she said. And Monty Python star John Cleese said London no longer seemed an English city. And he said almost all his friends overseas agreed. Now, naturally, of course, the way things go, both of them were howled down, the racist and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, shutting up people is not the same as changing their minds. If anything, it just gets people even angrier and the reaction uglier. Indeed, we saw the very ugly race riots against Muslims last year after false claims that a Muslim was responsible for the stabbing deaths of 3 girls at a dance school. It was actually a guy from a Rwandan immigrant family, not Muslim. Hundreds of people were arrested, including a lot of racists. But, again, look at the context. You think also of the many Islamist attacks that have happened in Britain, on the tube in London, on buses, at a concert in Manchester. And I don't think this tension will get any less. Do you? Now, one party on the rise in Britain is talking about this. Yesterday, the newest MP of Nigel Farage's anti-immigration reform party, asked the first question in Parliament after her by-election win. It was this one, to the Prime Minister, who seemed unsure how to answer.
Given the Prime Minister's desire to strengthen strategic alignment with our European neighbours, will he, in the interests of public safety, follow the lead of France, Denmark, Belgium and others and ban the burqa?
Yeah. Prime Minister.
Can I welcome her to her place? But I'm not going to follow her down that line.
But there's going to be more of that as people feel indeed like strangers in their own land, under greater pressure, in greater danger. And if the left doesn't like the response they're seeing, let them take this issue seriously now and work out how better to handle it.